Loyalty. It's the foundation of any strong relationship. You give your partner your heart and stay true to them, no matter what. But trust and loyalty are things to be earned, not given away on a whim. Trusting too soon or too blindly can leave you exposed, vulnerable, open to manipulation. And when you finally see the truth, you realize you've been all alone the whole time.
All right, welcome everybody. Come on in, everybody. I'm your man KTJ, and we're getting ready to get into this this talk today, this reaction today for my man Lost in Loyalty. If you guys are ready, I would love for you to comment below, drop your comment down below as we check out this this really interesting case. So if you guys are ready, let's get into it.
Wednesday, May 28th, 2014. It's a quiet spring morning in Fort Gaines, Georgia.
Fort Gaines is a small town. It's located about 3 hours southwest of Atlanta on the Alabama border.
We have about 1,300 people. It's a good, close community where everybody knows everybody.
But just after 9 a.m., a local resident is taking out the trash when he spots something disturbing.
You had seen a person lying face down.
He runs over to see if there's anything he can do.
There was blood on his clothing.
He realizes the person is non-responsive, that they are indeed dead.
The man immediately calls 911. Officers from both the Fort Gaines Police Department and the Georgia Bureau of Investigation quickly arrive on the scene.
We're a small department. It's hard for us to do some of the high-tech crime stuff that the GBI have.
When I got on that scene, my first impression, of course, was that we were dealing with a homicide.
Upon inspection of the body, those initial suspicions are confirmed.
When the crime scene specialist turned him over, there was a gunshot wound in the area of the upper right shoulder.
Based on the condition of the victim's body, GBI agents believe he was killed within the last 12 hours.
The estimated time of death was between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. that morning. They think he died right there on that dirt road.
With his pockets being pulled out in the position that they were, it appeared that somebody had rummaged through them. It appeared to be an armed robbery.
But soon, investigators will discover this is no ordinary robbery. Rather, it's a deadly tale of blind devotion that pushed one woman to give up everything to protect her man.
All right. So, all right, everybody. So come on into this conversation today. We have this young woman falling for what's probably going to be a bad boy situation here. And they're in the country of Georgia where this case is taking place. It's down there in the country. It's some serious country down there. So, but it's going to be interesting to check out this thing. A man face down in the country road, found deceased. So let's get into it. I'm going to stop it periodically because obviously I'm doing a reaction. So, but I'll try not to stop it too much. Fair use of this content here. All right, let's go.
In 2014, 21-year-old Eufaula, Alabama resident Brittany Baxter was a single mother looking to make a life for herself and her young son.
Brittany was born in Detroit, but we moved here to Alabama and we've been here ever since. She's a good mom. She loves her son.
She had a sweet personality. She more quiet, laid back, but at the same time, Brittany, she's determined. Brittany got a lot of goals and dreams.
She loved children. She always wanted to help people. She was always the person I can go to and confide in. She would always give me advice on things.
Even though Brittany was a single mother, she had plenty of support from her loving family and friends.
The baby father was not going to be there for her and the child, but she knew that she had family to help her.
Her best friend, Taniqua Woodard, was also there to lend a helping hand.
They was best friends from high school. They was like sisters. You always see one, you see the other one.
But even with the support of her friends and family, being a single mother could get pretty lonely. Now, in the spring of 2014, after almost a year on her own, Brittany felt it was time to start dating again.
She wanted somebody to just understand her. She wanted just somebody just to love her for her.
She was really searching for someone to take care of her, someone to love her unconditionally.
It didn't take long for Brittany to find what she was searching for when she met a handsome 24-year-old man online named Lawrence Jones.
Lawrence Jones lived in Fort Gaines, Georgia, on the Alabama border.
Even though he lived across state lines, Brittany was more than intrigued by Lawrence's persona.
All right. Look, I almost knew y'all had to see this coming, right? She goes online. She's lonely. She's a single mom. She's lonely and she's got her friends, but she wants to be loose. Because look, I don't care if you have a lot of responsibilities or not. If you're 22 years old, which she was at that time, you're still a 22-year-old young woman and she wants to live it up and have a great time. So, you know, this is the next step. Now, just so somebody knows, I am all for online dating, but you have to be smart about it and take your time getting to know somebody. All right, let's keep going.
He portrayed money, party life. He portrayed that to her, and it maybe seemed to her like, okay, this is the kind of life I want to live.
After some online flirting, Brittany and Lawrence started dating. It wasn't long before Brittany felt like she'd found the one.
They start communicating. It instantly makes her think the what if, the possibility. Like, if this guy was around, what could it be? There's chemistry, an instant type of chemistry. And she's excited by that. It's new, it's fresh.
Brittany fell hard for Lawrence.
With Lawrence Jones, she wanted that security, that love, a bond. She wanted a family.
Unlike her baby's father, Lawrence promised to provide for Brittany and her son.
He painted this picture that everything is going to be fine. I got you. We're going to have a good life together.
He seemed charismatic, but he also had a dark side. He was involved in gang activity,
Oh boy.
robbing, stealing. It was a way of life for him.
However,
Okay, so y'all know this is, you already know this is about to go bad, right? There's something about the bad boy that exudes that confidence, you know, that he's unpredictable, he's kind of unreliable, right? And he's also got that rebellious nature about him, and it just like really excites this girl who's trying to get on the right path. But excuse me, yeah, but you know, it could be tough. It could be tough. Let's keep going.
even after Brittany found out what Lawrence did for a living, her feelings for him remained strong. She loved Lawrence and how willing he was to care for her and her son. No man had ever shown her so much support.
He seems like he wants to do the right thing. And so that makes them very connected on a deeper level.
They're like inseparable. She felt like, you know, he has my back. He's going to be there for me. She's seen a future with him.
Their connection became so strong, Lawrence asked Brittany to leave her Alabama home and move to Fort Gaines, Georgia, to be with him.
They had only been dating 2 to 3 weeks, so it was sort of like a fast and furious thing that happened.
Brittany's
Come on, y'all. Come on, where's my love detectives? Can y'all see this coming? All of this in 2 to 3 weeks. If a man asks you to move in with him across state lines after 2 to 3 weeks, the answer should be no. I don't know you well enough. I don't know how this is going to be. I'm not established. I'll be all depending on you. No. But is she going to say no? Nope.
Family was apprehensive.
It was a quick process. I was very concerned, but I mean, it's her choice.
To put her family's fears to rest, Brittany invited her best friend, Taniqua, to move with her for support. Taniqua was all in. So in April of 2014, Brittany, her son, and Taniqua all moved in with Lawrence at his aunt's home, where his cousin, 21-year-old Donovan Evans, also lived.
Lawrence's aunt's house had plenty of room, so she didn't mind them all staying there.
Donovan, Lawrence, Taniqua, and Brittany, they were like a family.
But it was the bond Lawrence formed with Brittany's son that warmed her heart the most.
Lawrence assumed the role of a father figure of her son.
Brittany's getting the family she's always wanted.
But before long, Brittany's love and loyalty to Lawrence would put her at the center of a murder investigation and send her life spiraling out of control. Police have responded to...
All right, so hold on. So she moves in with this guy across state lines, brings her friends, right? Now, let me give you a little bit about how a guy's thinking in this situation. You guys know I'm a men's counselor, men's coach turned love coach. And sometimes this young guy, right? He's not like fully thinking this through. He's a young guy himself. He's not really thinking this through. He's not intending to try and be this boy's father and, be her husband and like all of that, right? He's really just taking it day by day and just letting it just all come to be, as opposed to just telling her specifically, here's what it is. I want you to be my wife. I want to get married. I want us to live. Bam, bam, bam. How we want to do it? No, that's not the way this turns out. So, yeah, sometimes young people can make some bad decisions too early that impact the rest of their lives. Let's keep going.
To a 911 call about a dead body found on Lily Lane in Fort Gaines, Georgia. The victim has been shot once in the chest, and authorities estimate he's been dead for less than 12 hours.
They noticed that his pockets had been turned out, so he might have been robbed.
The 911 caller tells investigators that the night before, he had heard several voices outside his home.
He described to us that he heard for sure 2 people, possibly 3.
The caller says he didn't see anyone or hear any gunshots. He did, however, spot a white truck that he was not familiar with. At that point, the man went back to bed, assuming that the truck belonged to some local teenagers who often met up at a nearby abandoned trailer.
It was known as kind of the hangout spot on Lily Lane. Younger people came to hang out and drink and smoke marijuana.
As GBI agents turned their focus on the white truck still parked near the trailer, officers head inside it to check things out. It appears whoever was there the night before is now long gone.
There was no incriminating evidence that they could tie together.
Fortunately, GBI agents have better luck with the white truck.
They ran the tag on the vehicle. The tag was coming back to a Marcus Ellington.
They search the truck and find Marcus's military ID in the glove box.
They matched it to the body, and it looked very much like the same person.
The victim appears to be 29-year-old Marcus Ellington.
He wasn't from Fort Gaines, obviously, because I didn't know his face. I know everybody here.
But what led to Marcus's tragic death? The investigation will soon lead authorities to a young girl blinded by her loyalty to her man.
Brittany was desperate for love, and she was willing to do whatever it took to feel that love.
All right, so that's good. That's a good little intro here. So I think that these situations, man, with these young girls who get themselves involved with these guys, they have no idea what they're doing, what they're getting into, and sometimes it is way too late when you figure it out, right? So a lot of times they'll know that this guy has guns, this guy has this, he's a street guy, he's this, that, and the other thing, and they're all still caught up in that feeling of adventure, right? That feeling like, ooh, something cool is about to happen. Yeah, something about to happen, but you might not like it. Let's keep going. So if you guys look, if you guys still watching, if you're checking it out, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. I got more of these to come, and we got more Love Coach sessions live this week. Specifically this week, we're doing it up. So you guys keep checking it out and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and then we'll keep going.
21-year-old Brittany Baxter had fallen hard and fast for 24-year-old Lawrence Jones and moved in with him after only 2 weeks of dating.
Lawrence and Brittany were having the time of their life. Brittany was the type of person that loved. She loved hard.
Lawrence had a criminal record. He had been involved in really dangerous activities for quite some time.
But Lawrence's criminal background was overshadowed by the affection he showed Brittany and her son.
That made her more attracted to him. She gonna roll with him, and she gonna do what he say do.
She just wanted happiness. She did really have feelings for him. She loved him. I believe she trusted him.
Brittany believed she'd found true love with Lawrence, but she had no idea the price she'd pay to stand by him. In Brittany's new hometown of Fort Gaines, Georgia, police are investigating the murder of 29-year-old Marcus Ellington, who was found shot to death on an isolated country road. According to the 911 caller, the night before the murder, he'd heard what he believed were a trio of young people hanging out at a nearby trailer.
Police were thinking that Marcus had parked his truck in the road before going into the house.
It's an abandoned house. It's a place that people sell drugs and they do all sorts of things that they want to keep under the radar.
While the search of the trailer yielded no new evidence, authorities hope Marcus's family might know who he had been hanging out with the night before. They pay a visit to Marcus's family home, roughly 30 minutes away from the crime scene, and deliver the terrible news.
So now police have the hardest part of their job, which is to notify Marcus's family that he'd been killed.
Marcus's family is devastated.
He wasn't a troublemaker or anything like that. His ambition was to become a truck driver. He had got accepted into truck driving school.
Investigators ask, why was he even in Fort Gaines? I mean, did he have a girlfriend? Was he dating someone?
The family says that the previous night, Marcus left the house around 11 p.m.
The last thing he said before he left the house was that he was going out to Fort Gaines for some girl.
The family doesn't know the girl's identity. Investigators hope cell phone records will tell them who Marcus was planning to meet.
Look, I just want to pause for a minute and jump in because this is terrible, man. Like that's one of the worst phone calls that a parent can get. That knock on the door and someone telling you that your loved one that you just saw last night, this morning, this afternoon is gone. Man, that must have been heartbreaking for them. Given that he had a military background and he was, sound like he was a decent guy who got involved with the wrong woman. I haven't even seen this reaction all the way through, you guys. So I'm watching it for the first time like you are, and I can tell already this was a love triangle, and he caught the bad end of it. Let's keep going.
At the station, investigators begin combing through the call log.
Investigators noticed that he started missing calls around 11:30 at night.
Based on the suspected time of death, investigators believe Marcus had died prior to the missed calls. But what really strikes their attention are the texts he received not long before that. Texts of a romantic nature that mention not one, but two women.
He has some texts that say they're from two girls named Brittany and Taniqua.
Oh boy.
That poses the question of who are these women?
Yeah.
And how are they related to what happened to Marcus?
The number responsible for the texts traces back to 19-year-old Taniqua Woodard.
We learned that Taniqua Woodard is the best friend of Brittany Baxter. She too is from Alabama, and when Brittany came to Georgia, Taniqua came with her.
Even though neither young woman has a prior criminal record, investigators are beginning to suspect that they might be involved in Marcus's murder. They just don't.
Yeah, somehow they set him up. They set him up. Her and her best friend set this guy up, told him to come there, and he ended up getting robbed and deceased.
Aren't sure how. Fortunately, they catch a break when they receive a call from an anonymous tipster.
She said that a whole bunch of people have been talking in the neighborhood.
Fort Gaines is a very small town, and when someone is shot and killed, that news travels like wildfire.
She said that she saw two young ladies at the local store with the guy that was shot.
Investigators press the caller for more details about the women, which prompts her to abruptly hang up.
The tipster did not elaborate.
Could the two young women described by the caller be Brittany and Taniqua, the same two women mentioned in Marcus's text messages prior to his death? There is only one way to know for sure. Investigators need to visit the store to see if the surveillance video captured the two women.
Who says that in this country town that the surveillance camera is going to be working? Who believes that it's going to be working? I'm going to say it's not going to be working. These things never work. Let's keep going.
Fort Gaines doesn't have a whole lot of stores, so it didn't take a whole lot of places to go before they stumbled upon that golden egg.
The manager of the store allows them to look at camera footage.
We could actually see part of the parking lot.
1:28 p.m. on May 27th, roughly 8 to 12 hours before the murder, Marcus's white pickup truck pulls up in front of the store. Two women exit his vehicle and enter the building. They bear an uncanny resemblance to Brittany Baxter and Taniqua Woodard.
That's her. That's them.
Marcus is sitting in his car, and then the two women come out of the store, talk to him for a few minutes, and then they go back inside.
At 1:35 p.m., the two women exit the store for the final time, get back in Marcus's truck, and leave the scene.
If the women in the video are indeed Brittany and Taniqua, that means that they were at the store with Marcus a couple hours before he had been killed.
They've got the phone records and the surveillance video, so it's becoming evident that Brittany and Taniqua may actually be involved.
All right, so these girls are already involved. These 21, 22-year-old girls out there wilding. They think they're so smart. They think they're so cool, got it going on, but you don't, boo. Once you are the cause of someone to be deceased, your whole life is going to change. And all the fun goes away.
As investigators inch closer to the truth, they'll uncover the dark side of Brittany's love for Lawrence Jones.
She would do whatever she could to make sure that man was happy.
All right. So look, you guys, if you haven't done so yet, go ahead and hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We got more. And I'd love to hear more about, like, maybe if you guys have other shows that you watch that you would like to have a breakdown and have us to do a review of it. We would love to do it. All right, let's keep going.
Police in Fort Gaines, Georgia, are investigating the homicide of Marcus Ellington, who was shot dead on a dirt road.
He didn't even have a chance. He died right there on that dirt road on Lily Lane.
Based on phone records and surveillance video, police believe Marcus met up with two women named Brittany Baxter and Taniqua Woodard right before his death.
It's kind of suspicious he meets up with these girls and then wind up dead. At this point, police are pretty sure it has something to do with it.
The girls are nowhere to be found in Fort Gaines, so Georgia investigators contact their families in Eufaula, Alabama, for help locating them. And sure enough, they had both returned home.
They know that GBI is looking for them. So once they are located, they're asked to come to the police department for interviews.
I said, Bree, you need to go talk to these people, see what's going on.
Now, this dedicated single mother who thought she had found true love with Lawrence Jones just weeks before found herself at the center of a murder investigation. With her back against the wall, Brittany leaves her son with family and heads to the station to be interviewed.
They walked up there.
Yeah, Brittany ain't going home. Kiss your baby goodbye and kiss mama goodbye, because your life is ruined, boo.
Taniqua both. They walked up there.
My mom told me that she had went to the police department to tell about what happened. So it just kind of all hit me at once. I was lost.
Investigators speak with Brittany first.
She was just sitting there kind of looking wide-eyed, acting a little nervous.
Investigators from the GBI lay out the evidence against the two women. The text messages and the surveillance video that suggests they were with Marcus Ellington prior to his death.
You can tell the guilt is eating away at her.
Brittany tells investigators she's no killer, but admits that she knows what happened to Marcus because she was there. According to Brittany, it all started the day of the murder, when she and Taniqua were out buying diapers for her son. Marcus approached the young women in his white truck and asked if they needed a ride.
He saw them and Taniqua felt like he wanted to talk to them.
She says that Marcus seemed nice. They rode with him over to the store.
Once there, the women went inside to get the diapers.
Brittany and Taniqua are in the store getting the diapers. However, she didn't have enough money.
They go out to the truck where Marcus is because she needs $2 more so Brittany will have enough money to get diapers for her baby. Marcus pulls the money out of his pocket.
Oh, come on, Marcus.
What she described as being a wild.
Oh, come on, Marcus. Marcus. You should know better than that. See, this is how men get this is how men get fleeced. Trying to show off. You ain't have to pull all that money out. You're trying to show these girls you got money. And now we understand. It's coming together now, y'all. Now we understand why he got it. Because they was like, oh, he got money. And she went and told homeboy he got money. And boom, he got it.
A lot of money.
Brittany says they went in to pay. And after leaving the store, Marcus gave them both a ride home.
The video substantiated what Brittany was saying as far as the time frame at the local store.
Brittany says as they were exiting his truck, Marcus gave Taniqua his cell number.
Taniqua was flattered and accepted his number. Now, even though both girls had boyfriends, they didn't really want to be rude, especially since Marcus had been so nice to them.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. So she only took his number because she didn't want to be rude. Come on. If this girl don't want your number, she's not going to take it. And if she do, she's going to hit delete after she walks away.
Brittany says the girls both thought that would be the end of things with Marcus. But later that night, Brittany's boyfriend, Lawrence Jones, became jealous when he found out another man had helped pay for her child's diapers.
Brittany says that they met a guy earlier in the day who gave them a ride and some money. She admitted that he flirted with them a little, but she thought he was just being nice.
According to Brittany, that's when she saw another side of Lawrence.
Even though she knew he wasn't always getting his money the honest way, she hadn't really seen his jealous side until that moment.
With his pride bruised, Brittany says Lawrence was furious.
Lawrence is thinking, who is this guy trying to take care of my woman?
Brittany says at that point, Lawrence came up with a plan.
At that point in time, Lawrence Jones let it be known, we're going to rob him and we're going to get his money.
Lawrence is an expert at this. He sees another opportunity to get some money, some fast, easy money, and he involves Brittany.
But how did the couple's robbery plot evolve into murder?
Wait a minute. I don't believe this story. I don't believe this story. I don't believe this story. I don't know how it's going to shake out, but I don't believe what she just said. He wants to rob the guy because he helped. It's because the guy helped you with your groceries, buy some Pampers, $2. Let's see. I think there's more here.
Investigators believe Lawrence's own rap sheet may hold the answer.
Lawrence Jones had a history. He was known to make money by doing robberies and selling drugs.
For Lawrence, it was just an everyday walk for him to be engaged in these types of activities.
Lawrence was a scary guy, so it's not crazy to think that he was behind the murder.
Investigators press Brittany on this theory. But soon, they'll discover that despite having everything to lose, this young woman would stop at nothing to protect her man.
In Brittany's mind, taking the fall was what she had to do. There were no limits to what Brittany would do for Lawrence.
All right. So this girl's getting ready to go down, telling the cops a false story, and this is all getting ready to get worse. You guys hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We're going to keep going on this. Let me know if you guys have a story you want us to check out and to kind of break down. These stories are a lot similar. These women getting involved with these, kind of bad boy, confident swag, these little country girls. And these always go bad. You can almost see it unfolding. Let's keep going. So let's keep going on.
Less than 48 hours after Marcus Ellington's murder, police have Brittany Baxter and her best friend, Taniqua Woodard, in custody.
Brittany and Taniqua had been hanging with Marcus on the day of the murder. He even gave them some money to buy some diapers for Brittany's baby.
Mr. Ellington kind of flashed his money, showing them like, hey, you young ladies may not have much, but I got money over here.
Brittany tells investigators that when she mentioned the encounter with Marcus to her boyfriend, Lawrence Jones, he became furious.
Lawrence was basically like, where did you get these extra diapers from? And she says, well, there was a guy, he's at the store, he gave me money.
The couple got into a heated argument. But afterwards, Lawrence came up with a plan, and he wanted Brittany's help.
Lawrence, her boyfriend's like, hey, we can rob this guy.
They also got Brittany's friend Taniqua and Lawrence's cousin Donovan to help them.
According to Brittany, she thought Marcus was a nice guy who didn't deserve to be robbed. But she was torn. Lawrence had taken good care of her and her child, and she wanted to prove her love and loyalty to him.
Brittany saw this as an opportunity to really show her love for Lawrence. She saw this as an opportunity to be loyal, to be significant in Lawrence's eyes.
The plan was for Taniqua to text Marcus and set up a date with both women.
The offer had to be enticing. It had to be something so exciting that Marcus would stop what he's doing and meet these two girls.
According to the plan, once Brittany and Taniqua met with Marcus, they were supposed to take him to the abandoned trailer on Lily Lane.
That house was a hotbed for criminal activity. It seemed like the perfect location to take someone to rob them.
This is that country stuff. You don't have nothing else to do. Sitting way out in the country, nothing else to do. Y'all sitting here listening to this dummy. This is so disturbing.
Once Marcus and the girls arrived at the abandoned trailer, Lawrence and Donovan planned to ambush him and steal his cash. Brittany says there was never a plan to shoot Marcus. No one was supposed to get hurt.
All they wanted to do was rob this individual for his money. That was it. Brittany and Taniqua did as they were instructed. They got in touch with Mr. Marcus Ellington, kind of flirted with him, told him what he wanted to hear.
Brittany says Marcus eagerly accepted their proposal and picked them up shortly after 11:30 p.m. However, according to Brittany, once they arrived at the house, she could tell something was amiss.
Lawrence and Donovan weren't hiding outside like they were supposed to be. The girls didn't know what to do, so they took Marcus inside the house and tried to play it cool.
She felt pressure because of her desire to really be a good girlfriend and for this to go exactly how Lawrence wanted it to go. She didn't want to mess up.
Brittany says all three sat down on a couch and started drinking.
She said after hanging out for a while, it seemed like the guys weren't coming, like the plan was off.
Investigators ask Brittany what happened next. But at this point, Brittany's demeanor shifts, and she begins to clam up.
Obviously, Brittany was withholding information, was being very dishonest.
Oh boy, it's getting thick. Come on, Brittany.
Investigators know there is more to this story, and they press Brittany to continue. She claims that eventually, around 12 a.m., two men in ski masks burst through the front door. Only it wasn't her boyfriend Lawrence and his cousin Donovan.
The area is pretty high in crime, and so she says that it must have been some other guys who were watching them and wanted to rob them.
That's a lie. That's a lie. You know that ain't true.
She had no idea who they were, that they came in, and that Taniqua and Brittany were very afraid for their lives.
Investigators know this is ridiculous. They feel like she is lying and covering for her man.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, investigators let Brittany continue her story.
Hey, when you get an investigator looking at you like this, you see that face? She know you lying.
She says after the men entered the home, all hell broke loose.
She sees the victim run out of the house.
Brittany says that she and Taniqua took off terrified.
As they're running, she hears 3 to 4 shots. And that's all she knows.
They don't know what happened, didn't wait.
Come on, Brittany. Come on. Come on. This cockamamie story. Now, then how did you get home?
Or look back to see a body drop.
According to Brittany, she and Taniqua ran for more than a mile, all the way back to the house where they lived with Lawrence and Donovan.
Investigators pushed Brittany for the gunman's identity, but she stayed firm.
Brittany maintains she has no idea who came after them or shot Marcus. It wasn't her boyfriend, and it wasn't Donovan.
However, investigators feel that it was Lawrence and Donovan, and things happened differently from the way Brittany described. Her goal was to protect Lawrence at all costs.
Investigators question Taniqua next, but it seems she's even more tight-lipped than Brittany.
She stand by the code, and the code is not to snitch.
But when investigators present Taniqua with the evidence against her, namely the phone records and the surveillance video, she decides to talk.
Taniqua, during the interview, she confesses to being a part of the robbery.
Done. Cooked. Finished. You do a crime with somebody, somebody's gonna tell. Because all they got to do is threaten you and tell you, look, baby, if you don't tell us who did it, you will never see your baby again. The next time you see your baby, he'll be a grown man. And I know you'll start to crack then. And this girl, they laid it on her, and she started cracking. She started flipping like a canoe.
However, she echoes the same stance as Brittany. No one was to get hurt, and then two masked men they didn't know came out of nowhere before the robbery could begin.
That's a lie.
Regardless of their stories, Brittany and Taniqua are charged with armed robbery and murder.
Brittany's family is shocked to learn of her arrest.
She went to the police department, and that was it. She didn't come back. I was devastated. I couldn't believe it.
As for Marcus Ellington's family, they're frustrated that the crime's alleged masterminds are still at large.
We were all very shocked. I didn't know what to do. Scream, cry. I didn't know.
Police are confident that they've honed in on the right suspects, but making a case against the men without Brittany and Taniqua's help could prove challenging.
No, don't worry. They're going to sing. They're going to sing. Don't even worry about it.
I think both girls were afraid of Lawrence, but Brittany also loved him. She was willing to fall on the sword for him, so to speak.
Will Brittany's loyalty to her man ultimately lead to her downfall?
He's throwing these two girls under the bus.
Yeah, so we got Brittany and Tanika, these 22-year-old young ladies. If you guys have been watching this or you just jumping in, two young ladies who are in this situation. They are facing this tough situation. She's got a guy, her boyfriend. She meets this guy online. He convinces her to lead this other guy who just a nice guy who helped them out, who had a lot of money. Fellas, this is for you. You can mess yourself up trying to show off, trying to show time. And that's what happened to this young man. They robbed him, and now she's trying to cover for her boyfriend. But all the cops have to say is, you will never see your baby again. And she's going to start singing like a canoe because she's in trouble, big trouble. All right, we about to finish this off, you guys. Let's keep going on this. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We got more to come here. Come on, y'all.
GBI investigators have just arrested Brittany Baxter and Taniqua Woodard in connection with the murder of Marcus Ellington.
The girls confessed to being involved in a robbery plot against Marcus, but they say they have no idea who killed him.
The girls claim masked men shot Marcus before the robbery plot could even get underway. But investigators aren't so sure. They believe the masked men are Brittany's boyfriend, Lawrence Jones, and his cousin, Donovan Evans. Lawrence is well known in the area for his fair share of crimes.
It seemed like the girls knew more than what they were letting on, like they were trying to protect the guys.
Of course they did.
I do think that Brittany was covering for her boyfriend. She never actually named him as being a person that was there.
GBI investigators transport the girls back to Clay County Jail, where they can build a case against the men. In the meantime, investigators track down Lawrence Jones. But if they think they're going to get a confession from him, they're sorely mistaken.
He denied having any knowledge of Marcus Ellington. He denied being involved in armed robbery or the killing of Marcus.
Now, investigators knew he had to be involved, but they couldn't
look, of course. He didn't know anything. I don't know nothing. I didn't do nothing. You got the wrong guy.
Anything out of him. And the fact that his girlfriend wasn't giving him up either didn't make things better.
She'd rather take the fall and be loyal to somebody else instead of telling on them.
Stupid.
With Lawrence's interrogation falling short, investigators set their sights on Donovan, Lawrence's cousin. They bring him into the station for questioning.
Donovan tells the police that he has no clue what the girls could have gotten themselves into, that he wasn't involved in any way.
He said that he was completely innocent and had nothing to hide. He said Brittany and Taniqua may have even set up Marcus. He's throwing these two girls under the bus.
He really wouldn't say much more. They just kind of hit a dead end with him.
Investigators have no choice but to release both Lawrence and Donovan.
The biggest evidence in this case were the statements from Brittany and Taniqua and the phone records. That's what tied them to the case, but there was no evidence that tied anyone else to the case.
At that point, detectives try a different approach and locate Mary Coggins, Donovan Evans' mother and Lawrence's aunt. They question her at work, hoping she'll reveal new information.
Mary Coggins says that she's got these two girls that have been staying at her house.
She said the girls moved in after Brittany started dating her nephew, Lawrence, who also lived in the home along with her son, Donovan.
Investigators inquire about the group's whereabouts on the night of the murder.
Mary said that she was watching Brittany's baby that night because the girls wanted to go out, but she didn't know where they went.
Donovan Evans' mother maintained that he was at home that night with Lawrence from approximately 11 until the next day, and that they did not go anywhere.
But Mary says that when she woke up the next morning, the girls were gone, along with Brittany's baby and all of their belongings. Mary Coggins' statement doesn't link Donovan or Lawrence to the crime scene. Once again, investigators turn to Brittany Baxter.
So who do y'all think did it? We getting down to it. Who do you think did it? Maybe those guys really didn't have anything to do with it. Maybe those girls tried to rob that guy on their own. And boom, gun went off.
They offered the girls a deal, hoping that Brittany was going to turn in Lawrence.
But as everyone involved in the case would soon find out, Brittany's loyalty to Lawrence was unshakable.
She wanted to stand by Lawrence and just to prove to him that she was his ride or die chick, no matter what.
Look, everybody knows that if you don't say anything, they've got nothing. If you keep your mouth closed, that you have to self-incriminate yourself. I know you can't say self twice, but you get what I'm saying. So that's what he's feeding her. Now, I'm not even certain that he's even involved. We'll see.
Investigators have arrested Brittany Baxter and Taniqua Woodard for the murder of Marcus Ellington.
The investigators definitely suspect that Lawrence Jones and Donovan Evans are involved in it too.
Brittany said that Lawrence and Donovan were supposed to arrive to rob Marcus, but that they never showed up.
Brittany tells the authorities that Donovan and Lawrence had a plan to rob Marcus, but it was interrupted when two men in a ski mask shot and killed Marcus. And that Taniqua and Brittany had no idea who they were.
They killed that man for a roll of money. Unbelievable.
Investigators knew the story was ridiculous. They were very confident that the two men in masks were Lawrence Jones and Donovan Evans.
The mastermind of this is Jones and Evans. Brittany was covering for her boyfriend.
However, with Brittany refusing to turn on her man, there's zero evidence connecting the two men to the crime, and the investigation grinds to a halt. Finally, in October of 2014, prosecutors step in and throw one last Hail Mary.
They offered a plea deal for the girls if they would give up their men.
It could have gotten them lesser sentences, or at least gotten the 2 men involved to serve time.
But even with the prospect of a plea deal, neither Brittany nor Taniqua waver from their initial statement. But in October of 2014, both women do plead guilty to armed robbery in hopes of a lighter sentence.
They probably thought that it would be within their best interest to go ahead and plead. If not, they could be facing maybe life in prison.
Brittany Baxter and Taniqua Woodard each receive a 10-year prison sentence for armed robbery, to be followed by an even heftier 30 years of probation.
I grew up around these two people, so it's kind of like, it's still kind of hard to believe.
I have no hate in my heart for them. They should do the time for the crime that they committed. You took a loved one away from a family, and we can't gain a life back.
To this day, the two women are the only ones to be held accountable for Marcus Ellington's murder. And unless Brittany Baxter decides to change her tune, Lawrence Jones and Donovan Evans, the suspected shooters, will remain innocent until proven guilty.
When it came to Lawrence Jones and Donovan Evans, there was no smoking gun. There was just a lack of evidence.
Absolutely not.
Young man lost his life. Parent lost the only child. And 2 possible murder suspects walked through the door.
Awesome.
Today, those closest to the case are left to wonder, was Brittany's loyalty to her man worth it in the end?
She meets Lawrence, she's lured in, she falls in love, and she still doesn't have the love and the relationship that she originally sought out for.
Unbelievable.
Brittany ends up with absolutely nothing.
If you knew that this dark side of this person existed, why did you continue on with him in the first place? Why didn't you choose better for yourself and for your son?
She was very determined to show him that she was a ride or die girlfriend by any means necessary.
It's hard. She was just at the wrong place at the wrong time.
No, Mom. No, Mama. She wasn't in the wrong place at the wrong time. She did it. She was guilty. And she needs to be fully held accountable. Now, this is what we talk about, y'all. If this was a man, there's no way a man would have only gotten 10 years and 30 years of probation. A man would have got 30 years in prison and 10 years of probation. But they go lenient on women who commit these crimes. I don't know. I think that they did it. I don't think the guys had anything to do with it. I think these two women did it and tried to cover it up and got hit for it. So, all right, y'all. Well, look, this is the month of February, so we got lots of love talks going on this month. And I want you guys to check them all out. We'll be on here every day of the month of February. That's when we're shooting this currently, February. And so I got some cool stuff happening, some guests coming on, and I want you guys to be a part of it. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we will see you next time. Peace.